Hello and good evening. My name is David, and today we are going to be playing Tales from the Low Cantrefs. Tales from the Low Cantrefs is a game currently still in playtest by. I'm going to fumble the name because I don't have it in front of me. I have completely blanked on the wonderful writer of this game, Luke Jordan. There we go. I lost it on the sheet. So apologies for that, but this is a game of kind of young adult fantasy in a sort of what's described as a hearth fantasy world. So more kind of folkloric than kind of high fantasy style thing. We'll have a little bit more of a discussion on the tone and stuff in a second. This game is being run as through the Gauntlet, which is an online role-playing group. We do a lot of games online like this one. We have a calendar where you can sign up for games. Signing up for games is completely open. Anyone is free to do so. There is a Patreon, and Patreon kind of gets you advanced access to signing up for slots. But other than that, if there are free slots available, you're always welcome to sign up for games. We also have a gaming magazine called Codex, as well as some other games that we publish, and a number of podcasts as well. You can check out information on all of that stuff on the website at gauntlet-rpg.com. There'll be a link to that down below. So yeah, that's what we'll be doing this evening. So I'm going to quickly go through the CATS. This is just a acronym for concept, aim, tone, subject matter, just as a kind of structured way of introducing what this game is and what to expect from it, sort of thing. If at any point during this you have any questions or want any clarification or anything like that, do feel free to just shout up and stop me. That is absolutely fine. But yeah, so concept. So Tales from the Low Cantrefs is a PBTA game about a group of young characters coming of age in a hearth fantasy world. Core to the game is the idea of characters who live together in an isolated village where contact with the outside is rare and people's understanding of magic, power, and the wider world is viewed through a lens of superstition and folklore. This is a game explicitly designed to tell coming-of-age stories, and as such, certain tropes these stories are modelled in particular things like the unreliability of adults, dealing with failure and relying on others, and learning from experience and facing loss. This game is currently in playtest, as I mentioned earlier, and as such, this doesn't necessarily at the moment represent the full experience of the game. Some elements aren't fully fleshed out yet, but it is, I think, in the design and the situation, it's the kind of state it's in, do give space for a good play experience still. So the aim of this game is to see how your characters grow and change in the face of the challenges they deal with, whether from external threats or the expectations of their friends, families, and elders. While there are robust mechanics for interactions between characters, this is a more outward-looking PBTA game, is the way I've described it here. So much of the drum will likely come from how the characters interact with the world, as well as each other. I'd say it stands in contrast to a game, say, like Monster Hearts, where a lot of the drama comes from internal conflict between the characters. This is one of those games that is a bit more focused on kind of doing stuff out in the world, as it were. As the playtest material say, it tells stories about growing up in the shadow of ruin and disapproval and grief, while finding what happiness and giving what help you can. It is not a game about saving the world, but one about holding onto your small corner so there's a world left when the time for saviors comes. So again, in the scope of this this run of the game, we're only playing for 3 sessions, so we'll probably just see like the story of one village be resolved. But the kind of the meta plot to the game is that if you play a campaign of it rather than playing the same characters through the full run of the campaign. Each time you resolve the story in one village, you'll start a new village with new characters. Some of what has happened in the game before will influence what the world is like now, but in general, it's all kind of heading towards this like cataclysm in the times in which heroes may arise and try and stop it. But it's kind of before that point, pre-apocalyptic kind of thing. So tone. Well, Tales from the Low Cantrefs is in the sort of young adult coming of age genre. It's kind of at the, I describe it slightly at the more muted end of the spectrum. Has some more somber content in it. Magic is present in the world, but it is rare, possibly never encountered by the villagers, and looked at with fear rather than wonder. The outside world is a wild and threatening place, and the village is not like a center of light and learning. There may be such places in the world, but they are likely only known to the villagers as fantastical locations in stories. Superstition and folklore are where most knowledge is preserved, and the village is suspicious of outsiders. Death is a real threat, and its presence is always near at hand. So we'll obviously, as playing young characters, there will be space and time for levity and whimsy and the like, but as an overall tone of the game, it does tend slightly towards the more serious and the more not dark exactly. I wouldn't describe it necessarily as dark fantasy, but certainly there's a bleakness to it. Finally, subject matter. In general, this game will be aimed at a young adult level when it comes to subject matter, so we'll avoid sort of anything that's too gratuitous or graphic violence or sexual content. However, it is still a dangerous world, and by its very nature, child endangerment will be a feature of the game. This includes the possibility of violence, potentially lethal, performed both by and on young characters. Family relations, and in particular pressure applied by family, will also likely feature heavily in the game. Death and grief can also potentially feature, as well as the undead. And one of the playbooks is kind of like intrinsically tied to the land of the dead as well. There is space for romance if that is the way that our characters go. We'll have a bit of a discussion in our general safety tools chat in a second. Though again, just reiterating what I said earlier, particularly given the sort of the age range that the characters are set in, there'll be no kind of graphic sexual content or the like in the game. We'll have in a second. I'll pause the video and we'll have a discussion on sort of lines and veils. So lines and veils are essentially a little list that we keep, just of subject matter that we and how we want to handle it in our game. We can have it as a line, which means it will not come up in our game at all. We won't reference it. We will try and avoid referencing it out of character as well as in character. We will just, in general, put it aside for the duration of the game. Veils are things where we can, in theory, have that content present in the game, but we never want to go into too much detail on it. We don't want it to be a central plot point, maybe, or we don't want it to be too graphically described. We will kind of like, we will draw a veil over it when it comes up in the scene, but that content can still feature, unlike a line where we will just never bring that subject matter up at all. There's a couple of other columns when we get to the sheet as well that I'll sort of mention now, which are an ask first column, and this is just something where it's you might be in general okay with that content being present in the game, but you might just want to clarify before it does come up that we're all happy with where the scene's going, or that content is included. And there is finally a column just to if you're interested in seeing that subject matter come up. A couple of these I have already kind of filled in because it's stuff that's quite likely to come up in the game, but if left to run on its own course. The important thing to remember with these is that kind of we always play in with these in a manner that's comfortable to everyone. So if something is lined, it is a line, full stop. That's it's off the table. If someone puts their interest in a certain subject matter and someone else puts they want it as a veil, we will still veil it. We might sort of see and talk about how we can touch on that subject in a way that isn't going to cause anyone discomfort, but that's kind of the hierarchy, as it were. So in a moment I'll pause recording, we'll go through that. I'll just quickly explain the other couple of safety tools we'll have available to us today. Firstly, we're always playing under the open door policy. This is simply to say, if at any point you need to step away, whether that's to take a quick break, the doorbell goes, or because you do need to leave the session entirely, any of those is absolutely fine. You can always step away at any point. If you are able to let me know if and when you are able to come back, that is useful, but it is not required. If you just need to walk away and be done with it, that is absolutely fine. That includes for like the series itself as well. If you find you're not enjoying the game as much as you'd hoped you might, and you just think you need to leave it behind, you are free to do so. Don't feel bad about it. We'll also be playing with the X card. The X card is basically just a tool that lets us identify when subject matter comes up in the game that we're not happy with, that we would like to see removed. You can invoke the X card by kind of doing an X with your hands, by putting in the chat at the side that you'd like to X card it, and you'd like to invoke the X card, or just saying, I'd like to X card this. I might need to ask you to clarify exactly what it is that you're X carding if it's not immediately obvious from the context of what's going on. But I won't ask you to explain why you want to X card something if you don't want to. That is, we don't need to know why unless you want to tell us. We just need to know that you don't want it there. And this can be for both like subject matter you're unhappy with, or even just if you feel like tonally it's not right, or it would kind of throw your kind of concept of the game off kilter or anything like that. It's fine. And lastly, we'll be using script change. I'm not going to go into the full spiel on this, but I think the most important thing with script change is there's a couple of commands we can use that kind of control our interaction with the game. We can use you can always call out just for a pause, which is just for us to take a break for a moment, possibly to have an out of character chat. If there's something else we want to, if we want to discuss what's going on in the scene or what have you in out of character, we can call a pause to do that. Or even if it's just like a case of a scene is getting quite intense and you just need to take a moment to kind of gather your thoughts or decide where you want to go next, that's also cool. You can call a quick pause for that. We can also rewind. This is if we want to make changes to something that has just happened. So if we decide actually that we've started taking things down a direction that we're not happy with and we want to go back and do it differently, we can do that. Or if you just decide, oh, I don't like the way I phrased what I just said and I want to change it, again, that's fine. We also have fast forward. Fast forward can be used to basically skip over something. This could be if, like, say, again, a description of a scene is getting a bit too graphic or what have you, and you think, actually, no, we want to move past this. Can we sort of move on to what happens next? You can ask for a fast forward for that. Or if just like a scene is kind of going in circles and we just kind of need to move to the point where the next thing happens again, fast forward could be used to kind of indicate that. The other thing with all of these safety tools is we can always, you don't have to use the command words if you don't want to. They are there as a kind of shortcut, but we can always have those sort of conversations just between ourselves as players as well. Awesome. So that was a lot of me talking. I'm going to pause our recording now while we just go over our lines and veils. Excellent. So we now all have characters. So I'm going to now go through in order of the character keeper. And I'll just ask each of you to introduce yourselves and the character you're going to be playing, and tell us a little bit about them. Doesn't need to be a huge amount of detail at this point. We'll probably learn a little bit more about them as we start developing the village as well. But just your kind of initial thoughts. So Ante, I'm going to start with you, if that's okay.
Yeah. I'm playing Jac, he, him. He is 13 years old, but big for his age. He's a fairly sturdy, stocky kid. He is, he's the Blade. So I think he's a bit not. He's good with his hands, but he's kind of clumsy with his body. He's at that awkward growing stage. He's got 2 big feet and generally not comfortable with his own size yet. So as the Blade, he's good at protecting others. He's also fairly good at noticing things and reading people, but he's not very good at I don't remember what search your memory is for.
That's sort of the knowing things about the world in general, recalling facts and stuff about it.
Yeah, I think he's not paid a lot of attention when people have talked about the old stories and that sort of thing. He's more interested in practical work. So he has an iron belt knife that he has forged himself. So I think he's tried some different crafts, that sort of thing. I mean, you need to learn a little bit of everything. I'll stop there. I think I'm talking too much.
No, that's perfect. Thank you very much. And next, Dana.
Yeah, so my character name is Zéline, pronouns she, her. She's 13. I was very inspired with the gear choices and like the enchanted sword that I found in some ancient ruin. And I think that will be like somehow the basic element in her conjuring. I think she's just a child. Like she looks very much like a child carrying a big, ridiculous sword, and that's how I'm picturing her right now.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. And Stephen.
Yeah, I'm Stephen, he, him, and I'm playing Oren, he, him. Oren is, as I can see here, the oldest of this group of kids at 16. I'm nearly grown. I think that Oren is the loom. The loom sort of is the sensible one and the one that sometimes has visions of things to come. I think that Oren spends a lot of time working with wood. Like I think he's always probably carving something in his hands, and his hands are probably always nicked from when he gets distracted by something and accidentally cuts a finger. But yeah, I have as the Loom, I just get a pile of things to start with. And I think a few of the important things is my old trusty knife. I think I also got an old tool. I think we'll get going where I got that from, but it's a reminder of a trust once placed in me. I think it's probably like a claw hammer or something like that that's always dangling from my belt. I also got I also have a bracelet, which is precious and beautiful, a gift from someone I love, which I have thoughts about. But again, I'll wait until we start flushing out our village to figure out where I got that from.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. And yeah, last but not least, Paul.
Hi, everyone. I'm Paul, he, him. My character's name is Glyn, also he, him. He is the second oldest of the group, but feels like Oren worries a lot, and sometimes you just need to like relax a bit. He helps out the village by exploring the wilds, really likes being there. Not really super into the past. He's all about the now, you know? He kind of just disappears sometimes and then shows up again whenever he feels like it. He has his hunting bow for when he goes, gets some materials for the village, camouflage clothes to stay hidden, some ropes and stuff, and he has a compass that he uses sometimes when he needs it, but sometimes the wind is really all you need to find your way, you know. Good with a bow, good at hiding, and has a good sense for when the weather changes.
Awesome. Thank you very much. So that's great. We've got like a little initial look at these characters. What we're going to do next is we're going to talk about the village that they come from. So you'll see on the character keeper there is a tab called the village. We'll go through there's a number of questions here. There are some suggested answers if you want to pick from those. Or if ever when you come to answer a question, you just wish to choose something of your own, that is also cool. The suggestions there are just that. So also you'll see kind of in the center of the tab there is a little drawing of the village. Hopefully, if you double click on that image, it should open it up in like a little pop out. So if you want to, like, once we get into sort of detailing some of the landscape around the place and so on and so forth, if you want to, you know, make any doodles on the page, I'm actually just going to shrink the village itself down a little bit so it's so we have some space around it. Then yeah, feel free to you know, scribble on this as we go through. Awesome. So I think actually does anyone wish to choose one of the names from that list, or another name that you would like to call the place of your own devising? That is cool. We can always come back to the name last if people want, because that is sometimes the most difficult one to answer. But if anyone has any thoughts initially and wants to shout out, feel free to do so. I'll take that as a no for the moment. So
I had an idea. It's not on the list, but I was thinking Longhill or Longhill.
yeah, that sounds good to me. If people are cool with that, or if we want to come back to that later. But yeah, no, that sounds like a good one. A nice yeah, as you say, nice descriptive name. Awesome. Cool. So yeah, we will go with Longhill. Oh no, I'm in the wrong tab. Thank you. Awesome. So we are now going to each detail, or each of you will detail on here something, basically a local landmark or local terrain. And like I said, we'll do one of these each. And then as well as describing what it is, you'll also be providing one detail about it. There's some suggested questions for the sort of detail you might add just underneath, such as how do you amuse yourselves when you're hanging out there? What spooky story have you heard about it? Why do the adults say you should stay away from it? So for this one, I'm just going to carry on round in Couchkeeper order. As like I said, I'll get one from each of you anyway. So Dana, would you like to choose one of the
Sure.
a landmark or something else that's around the village?
Sure. I was thinking maybe of the Leaning Tower. Like I imagine like a ruined old tower that is almost falling, and the adults say I should stay away because if I climb the tower it's gonna fall and I'm gonna do serious damage to myself.
Yeah, excellent. That's cool. I like that, and I also like the idea that people have been saying like that this tower is dangerous and is going to fall down for like generations. Awesome. And yeah, again, if you want to draw that on the map, that's cool. But you can be doing that in a moment. So Stephen, would you like to add another detail to the area around the village?
I'm torn here. Let me see. Where are you putting the tower on the map, Donna?
I don't know, maybe south, like a little
Okay.
far away from the town.
Does this make sense? Yeah, I think that yeah, I think that we are past a high bridge. And I think that that is like just beyond the tower is this bridge that crosses over a deep gorge that separates us from that separates us from other towns. And I think that of a story that we've heard about it is that it's like I'm just kind of thinking here that the bridge wasn't built by human hands, that they say that back in the days when magic was common, that a sorcerer or a conjurer summoned the bridge. And maybe even, yeah, maybe even the marks of like stonework can't be seen on the bridge.
Nice, nice. I like that. Excellent. Thank you very much. And Paul, how about you? What would you like to add to our map?
We have a large lake next to a like grotto. And how do we amuse ourselves when you're hanging out there? We have set up multiple rope swings that allow you to swing into the lake.
Nice, nice. Excellent, thank you. Anders, if you would like to add a final detail.
Yeah, so we have a tower, a bridge, and a lake with a grotto. Did I get that right? Cool. I think either woodlands or a mountain. I'd like to get some serious terrain. I think I'll go with woodlands. There are forests all around, and let's see. I think the adults say we should stay away from the forest. Because there's a witch who lives out there. It's probably not true, but who knows? That's what they tell the little children, that there's a witch out there, and she, yeah, as soon as the sun sets, she will get you. Better be home before then.
Brilliant, thank you very much. So, our next question, and again, I will ask this open, but if anyone wants to kind of jump on it initially, otherwise we'll kind of discuss between ourselves. I didn't explain that, I must admit, but I think I alluded to it when I mentioned about the book, but the main folk religion in these parts has to do with the worship of trees, and each type of tree is essentially associated with a particular trait. So the suggested ones here are the peaceful willow, the brash alder, the steadfast oak, the fickle holly, the wandering elder, the stern yew, the wakeful birch, and the gentle hazel. But which of the great trees is not worshipped here in the village? I'm just going to have a quick look actually, because I think the book was one of the later ones that came. Yeah. So does anyone have an idea of which one of these may not be worshipped here in the village?
Maybe, I don't know, I feel like maybe the Wandering Elder. I feel like that like this is kind of like, you know, you have to cross this possibly cursed bridge to leave the town. So there's a kind of there's a kind of, you're not supposed to leave town.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Glyn.
What was that?
I mean, I'm sure Glenn has been
Yeah, no, for sure.
yeah.
Whenever you say that, he just does not listen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Mhm.
Awesome. So next we have so the next ones we've got are the next two questions we've got. So I'll probably be asking for two of each essentially. But the first one is where do the villagers gather together? And again, there's a list of suggestions there if you want to come up with something else. That's also cool. And then feel free to either just like mark where on the map that thing is, or circle one of the buildings or whatever else to indicate. Does anyone have an idea of somewhere where people gather in the village?
I like laundry posts, and I think they're like right next to the lake.
Yeah, awesome. That's cool. And does someone have an idea for another place where people sort of gather together?
I mean, I like the idea that if we're playing around, maybe buy an old standing stone. Like I feel like we've talked about a little bit of like the tower and the bridge. Then maybe there's some old like runestone carved in languages folk here no longer remember, that still holds some superstitious purposes to gather there every now and then for festivals and whatnot. Does that work for folks?
Yeah, I like that, certainly.
Let me
yeah.
shrink these text boxes down to their actual size.
So we now have two other questions, which are, we have another question that I'll be looking for to answer for. So probably Anders and Dana, if you want to jump on these ones, would be cool. We have which festivals does it honor? I will mention as well, in case there's any bearing this. This our setting for this will be vaguely current time, in the sense that it will be kind of springtime as we go into things. So if you want to pick one of the springtime, some sort of springtime festival, that's more likely to come up. But what festivals do you think are celebrated here in the village?
I like the scaring away the unquiet dead. I imagine people going like right through to the border of the Witchwood, maybe carrying some torches or another like ritual fire stuff, and
Okay.
like spending the night there, something like that.
Cool.
Yeah, I was thinking that I'm gonna put the standing stone in the Witchwood, and I'm gonna just name it the Hagstone.
Cool.
Sounds great.
Yeah, I like that. And maybe welcoming spring with drinking and weddings.
Excellent. Awesome. I like it. I'm going to say it again. Anyone feel free to answer on this one. Doesn't have to be on this, but obviously you can if you wish. Do you think, like, is this the only time of year that people are married, or is it just kind of especially like seen as auspicious to get married at this time of year?
Ooh. Yeah, I think most people get married at this time of year, and if you don't, it's kind of weird. It's frowned upon a bit. I think that it's like a fairly what do you say, formalized courtship procedure. Like you start at a certain time of year, and then you go to the harvest festival together, and then there's something at midwinter, and then you get engaged at midwinter, and then you have the formal wedding in the spring.
Yeah, I was reading this other book, Son of the Storm, and I was thinking like in like fall, like you formally, like you're not engaged yet, but you formally go walking in public with the person you're going to get engaged to, so that everybody knows that the two of you are eyeing each other.
Yeah.
I think it's also cool, or maybe it's like a unique thing that because of this ceremony, this also kind of suggests that a lot of people's birthdays are the same or around the same time of the year.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. And maybe this ties in with the with this scaring away the dead. Like that's if that's in the spring, then that's kind of like the safe time to get married and that sort of thing, because the dead are far away, so that you can have a long and happy life.
Yeah, that's cool. I like it. Awesome. So the next question we have, and we're looking for like 2 or 3 in general here, is what toxic attitudes do the locals cling to? And again, there's a list of suggestions here. these aren't necessarily what's the word I'm looking for? They're
hard rules. They're just commonly held beliefs.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. And they're not necessarily actively harmful so much as just potentially dangerous. So things like again, obviously examples here are things like always honor the words of your elders, your personal life is village business, this sort of thing.
I was going to say, I mean, with some of the stuff we've established, I feel like outsiders can never really be trusted is probably one of them.
Yeah, that's
like, I think we don't turn away people, but I think there is kind of like our roadhouse and inn and things like that are all located like safely on the edge of the village.
Yeah.
And I think maybe like going off of the whole, like, we're kind of isolated here, maybe that goes into also the traditions of the village. So it's also like tend to your own affairs and troubles is very similar to that. Because as a village, we do that, but also maybe like in small microcosms of families, they also tend to do that too.
Yeah. I was also thinking, like with this marriage and courtship thing, that your personal life is village business.
Yeah.
Which I think that maybe that creates or maybe it conflicts too much with tend to your own affairs and troubles. I was thinking maybe there's an interesting tension there, or
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like, yeah, like, no, I think like you say, I feel like there's an interesting tension there, because yeah, you're expected to tend to your own affairs and troubles, but if you don't, people will notice. And
Yeah.
And yeah, Dana, do you wish to add another, or do you like where we are at?
I think we're okay with that. I don't like so many of the other options.
Brilliant, thank you very much. So the next question is one. We've got a couple now that are perhaps not quite as important as the other ones we've done so far, but we'll look at them anyway. So the next one is which way and how far is the nearest village, do you think? I'm wondering, I suppose actually the bit I'm more interested in here in some ways about this, because I feel like, given what's been said already, probably the next nearest village is the other side of the bridge. Is there another route that you can take that avoids the bridge, even if it takes longer to do so, do you reckon? Or is sort of the bridge the only route you can take, not just the most direct?
I think maybe you could take the Witchwood, but
Yeah.
but nobody has like used those roads for so long that they've all gone to wild.
Cool.
Because there's a witch there,
Yeah.
obviously.
And how do people think that, like, decisions are made in the village? Who's in charge? Is there a kind of a formal mayor? Is there a council of elders, or is it just a kind of much more ad hoc sort of self-regulating community, do people reckon?
I think there's, or maybe there's like different groups of people for different issues. Like if it's something to do with the farming, then it's the heads of the families with the most farmland. If it's something to do with it's the like the main families who are involved in that business. And there are rules for who are in and who are out, but they're all like unspoken rules, and you have to be accepted, and that's.
Yeah, I like that kind of like a kind of committee type setup for different things. Yeah, that sounds interesting.
That kind of means that if something happens that doesn't fit into that structure, then things get very confused and messy.
Yeah, awesome. Cool. So I think that's kind of our main setup for the village itself. I'm just going to kind of ask a couple of questions just to learn a little bit more about your characters. So I'm going to ask. Well, I'll read all of the questions just to start with, just so you kind of know what's coming, and then I'll kind of work around, and we'll answer them sort of character by character. And then obviously these questions that we ask may draw out further questions to each other. That's cool. Feel free to leap in and ask each other questions as well. So the questions that I will be kind of asking of you all are, where do you live? Who do you call family in the village? Where do you go to be alone? Who do you go to with your problems? And what do you all do for fun around here? Yeah, I'll essentially ask the same question to everyone and then move on to the next one. It's probably the most dynamic way of doing it. So I will start back with you, Anders, if that's okay. So yeah, where do you live? Who do you call family in the village?
Yeah. I think I live on the east side of town. And my family are farmers. My parents, my parents have a farm. And who I call family, well, it's my immediate family, and I think I have I assume, since this is a fairly isolated village, there will be a certain amount of like everyone's related to everyone, especially since we're suspicious to outsiders. There's going to be I think
Well, it's not that we're suspicious of outsiders. It's just that you don't put your trust in them.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. Yeah, I think I'm very close to my my maternal grandfather. He's the one who gave me the axe I have. And I think he's a woodsman. He works in the Eastwood.
Awesome. Do you have any siblings, or are you an only child?
Oh, I have several siblings, both older and younger, I think. So I'm one of the middle children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. And one last very minor question I just had on what you've just said. What sort of farming do you think does your family does? Is it do they grow grain, or is it sort of more livestock, or is it just a kind of mixed?
Yeah, I think they grow like turnips mainly, and that sort of thing. But like root vegetables,
Yeah.
carrots, that sort of thing that will last a while.
Cool. No, that's awesome. Thank you very much. And next, Dana, or I should say, Zéline. Excuse me. Sorry, same question again for you. Whereabouts do you live? Who do you live with? And who do you call family in the village?
I think I live like in the south part of town. Maybe my family also has fields. And I think I'm the last sibling. Like my brothers and sister are much older than me, and they all like set up. My family has plans like for all of them. They are or married or being married or being taken care of our work, and I'm like the no plan sibling. Like my family didn't expect me, and so I have no purpose in the family, so I mostly roam around. And I was thinking maybe the tower was actually like in the middle of or someplace in our land, and that's why I spend a lot of time in that tower. Yeah, I like that my sibling is getting married this spring. That would be cool.
Yeah, awesome.
Maybe he or she is the only one I could talk to, and seeing that like maybe it's the next younger one.
Yeah.
So if they are marrying right now, like I'm alone in this family.
Yeah, awesome. That's cool. Thank you very much. Yeah, no, that's cool. That's good. That's a nice detail in that. Perfect. Thank you. Yeah. I guess Stephen or Oren next. What? How about you? Whereabouts do you live? What's your family like?
Yeah, I'm just thinking now that like I think that my family is I think they're mostly tradespeople, and I'm trying to think like how like what kind of like structure it has. I think that like it wasn't so like it wasn't like my parents actually had me when they were very old, and it wasn't so much like not scandalous, but it was like vaguely embarrassing because it just kind of became the joke of the year to, and it has trailed onwards for most of my life, that like everybody is like, wink wink, you should really be leaving the springs to the young people, you two. Like I think that was like the ongoing joke. And yeah, I think that I have like I think that as such, like most of my siblings, yeah, I think I have 2 or 3 siblings, but they're all like much older than me. Like they were all basically adults for most of my childhood, and I think I end up I think I end up at this point have like several like fairly youngish nieces and nephews that are like, you know, 9 or 10 or 8, around that age.
Cool.
And I think I probably like I said, I think that probably most of what my family does is kind of regular trades work in the town of repairing and maintaining buildings. But I think I probably learned from my father wood carving, and I usually will go off into the woods to do that with like small pieces of wood. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Awesome.
yeah, and I think that the last question, I think actually that I'll tie this into the the bracelet thing. I think that like the person I have very strong feelings about is they're actually not in the town most of the time. I think that this is like actually the rare year. Like I think that they're musicians or something, like their parents are musicians with a traveling group. And I think like every 2 or 3 years, their circuit brings them into town in the spring to perform. And this is one of those years, maybe.
Cool. And just to clarify on that, is that kind of a romantic relationship or more like a familial sense of love?
I mean, it's a romantic. It's a crush, but it's like, you know, it's with someone who like who I've like actually like spent time with like 5 times in my life.
Yeah.
And then it's like 2 or 3 years like absence.
Sure thing. Cool. We will, I'm sure, learn more of them later. But no, that's cool. Yeah, I think because I was interested to know if you'd sort of learnt your skills from your family, but that's cool. We've got that. So yeah, awesome. Thank you very much. Next for Glyn. So Paul, yes, again, obviously same question.
Yeah.
Where do you live? What's your family life like?
I live right next to the lake with my mom and dad. I'm the only child. I think because the laundry posts are so important to the village, my parents are kind of like, if there's like a farming committee, they're like the laundry committee. But also like in like an unsaid sort of thing, they also deal with like a lot of the like village interpersonal conflict, because they all come here anyway. So like in like a unsaid way, the head launderers are also like the kind of like village counselors in a way. So because of that, my parents are incredibly busy all the time. Like they love me. They made me my cool forest cloak and all that stuff, but I just get lost in the shuffle a lot of the time. And the who in the village do I call family? I mean, my parents are my mom and dad, but there's this one old lady in the village. She was never married. Everyone knows who she is. She doesn't really care who like stares at her as she walks by, but she kind of like indirectly trained me in the woods. She basically was just like, hey, find me this thing in the woods, and then just send me off with directions. And then I would keep coming back to it. But then like every place was just like high tree, like low rocks. And it's kind of just like slowly over time through fetch quests, like gave me the skills I needed to survive in there.
Awesome. Yeah, I like that. I really like that. So I suppose just wanted to ask with the with your mentor, this this idea, is there that kind of like semi witchy vibe to her? Is it that sort of thing, or is it more just she's kind of an independent woman who doesn't really have much time for the, and that's kind of more on that side, that she's kind of draws attention?
Yeah, I think she was like, everyone knows, like no one really, like she doesn't get like gossiped upon because of just the respect the village has for her, because she knows the forest the best kind of deal. And like other people have tried to be like, hey, teach me the forest, and she kind of like, not you. And then for whatever reason, Glyn was the one that she's like, yeah, maybe like this kid is the kid I would like say some things about. Like she helps out. She like tells people like which plants are poisonous and stuff. But like everyone just knows her. She was like the village woods woman before, but just over time, like joints and stuff just didn't hold up to where she couldn't really do it anymore.
Awesome. Thank you very much. So I'm going to come back around to Anders and our next question, which is, where do you go to be alone?
I think I go out into the Eastwood. There's a part of it that's kind of mostly shrubs and small trees. I think like closer to the lake, so it's not useful wood for lumber or that sort of thing. So, and there's no good hunting there, so there's not a lot of people who have reason to go there.
Awesome. No, that's cool. Yeah, Zéline, Zéline, sorry. Same question to you. Where do you go to be alone?
I think the tower for sure.
Yeah, I could see that one coming. Awesome, thank you. And Oren, how about you? Where do you go when you want to be alone?
Yeah, I think maybe to like my pa's old workshop. I feel like he's getting old enough that like he actually doesn't use it a lot. And I think that it's also the place where like all of my like nephews and nieces aren't allowed to go. So
yeah, awesome. Yeah, it's like it may even have like a lock on the door. Who knows? Awesome. Thank you. And Glyn, whereabouts do you go to be alone?
The top of the tower.
Wait, so to clarify here, I'm just out of curiosity. Have you and Zéline like reached an agreement about this? Or are the two of you always like both claiming that it's your tower to like be alone at?
I think Zéline, do you think you can make it to the top of the tower by yourself?
Oh, that's interesting. No, maybe I can't. Like, it's too tall.
Yeah. I think maybe Zéline hangs out at the tower, but then Glyn is the one who can climb all the way to the top.
Yeah, maybe I insist that you like carry me to the top, and like you never do.
Yeah, and you like turn around for a moment and he's already like really up high.
Yeah.
I just like the image that Glyn is sitting at the top of the tower as the occasional rock flies past him.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's the prime brooding location in town. So it's got a bit of a wait list. It's awesome. Thank you very much. So we'll come back around again. So Jac, who do you go to with your problems?
I think that's my grandfather that I mentioned before. He's very patient, and he think he's a lot less judgmental than most adults that I know. He gives. He doesn't give much advice, but he listens, and he's very understanding of various problems.
Awesome. Thank you. Zéline, how about you? Who do you go to with your problems?
I think my favorite sister, like the one that is getting married this spring.
Cool. Nice. Awesome. Thank you very much. And Oren, how about you? Who is your sort of chosen confidant?
Maybe Elowen. I think that she is the only of like my nephews and nieces who's older than me. And I think that means I related to them the most growing up.
But I'm guessing I'm assuming sort of only like a couple of years older, sort of thing. Fairly close in age still, but yeah, cool. Awesome, thank you. And Glyn, who do you go to with your problems?
Oren. Like, Glyn never really says like, here are my problems. He just shows up at the workshop no matter how much Oren tries to prevent that from happening.
I mean, I don't think Oren tries hard.
Okay, nice.
Awesome, thank you. That's cool. Actually, I'm going to ask a quick follow up on that one. Do you think that I mean, obviously, it's not a big village. You know, everyone knows everyone else. But do you think you kind of grew up particularly close to Oren, Glyn, or is this just kind of a friendship or an admiration that's evolved over time?
I think we grew up together. Or, and if you're cool with it, would you like to have the same birthday?
Yeah, sure. I'm just kind of thinking here, like, I'm wondering, like, if like I've had to like repair your bow on a number of occasions.
Yeah. I also like to think that I am a very bad influence on your nephews and nieces.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Awesome. Brilliant, thank you. And yeah, our last question, and then we're basically, I'll do this last round of questions, then we'll take a quick break. I may have another couple of little questions that I may ask when we get back again, but I may not. I'll see. We can probably learn some of those in play anyway. Awesome. So, but yeah, the last one I'm going to ask now. Jac, what do you all do for fun around here?
I think Jac doesn't have a lot of time to have fun, because they are you have to weed the turnip turnip field. We call it field. And he has younger siblings he needs to take care of, and I think he's kind of the one in the family who gets sent on all the fetch and carry jobs, like take this over to that family and go bring that from there to here. But when he has some time to himself, I think he's still kind of a bit like playing kids games by himself out in the woods, like pretending to fight dragons and that sort of.
Awesome, thank you very much. Yeah, Zéline, how about you? What do you do for fun?
I think I'm gonna switch around like my last answer. Like, I think when I want to be alone, I like go to the laundry post after everyone has done the laundry and like be alone in front of the lake. And when I want to have fun, I go to the tower. Like, I think the tower to me is more like a playground and not like some brooding place. And I think that's why Glyn doesn't like want to talk to me or engage with me when he's trying to be alone in there.
Awesome. No, that's really cool. I like that. That's a nice yeah, juxtaposition. That's cool. Awesome. Thank you very much. And yeah, Oren, what do you do for fun?
Oh, well, I mean, besides the carving, which I kind of do in my free time, but I think that I mean, I guess just to tie us in, to just tie in with what we've established, I think I probably have gone off with Glyn in the woods every now and then when I have the free time. I think I am not a good hunter at all, and I scare away all the animals when I go with you. But I think that suits Oren fine because hunting makes him a little sad, just a little.
Mm-hmm. And Glyn likes watching you hunt because it's funny.
That's fair.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And Glyn, what do you like to do for fun?
He likes to find the fresh pies in the windowsills and steals a slice. Not the full pie, just one slice.
Which is complicated because you have to steal the knives.
Yeah.
And then like a plate to put the slice on. And then you can steal the slice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Perfect. So yeah, we will take another quick break. So if we come back at about again, we'll say about 20 past, and then we'll get kind of an initial establishing scene and to learn a little bit more about you all in play. So yeah, I'll see you all shortly. Excellent. So we've learned a little bit about all of the characters now, and so we're going to just get a little initial scene to start things off with. So we've just established that Zéline's favorite sister is engaged to marry one of Jac's siblings, and I think the scene that we are going to open up with is going to be some sort of celebration of the impending wedding. So I'm going to ask, I'll ask you, Zéline, do you think that this is going to be taking place at your family's home or at Jac's family's home?
I think probably Jac's home. Like I don't think we have like in my family a place like nice enough for a wedding. I don't know if there's one at Jac's home though.
I don't think we have like a nice place maybe, but I think our house is fairly big just because it's a big family. So we have like a fairly big common room with just to have room for everyone.
And I must admit as well, having grown up in the countryside myself, the number of parties and events I went to that were held in barns was not small. No, that's cool. So yeah, I think that this this party will be going on in the evening at this house. There will be drinking and revelry going on. It's not the actual wedding itself yet, and obviously there's the kind of the formal engagement has already been sort of done, but this is kind of the just a sort of pre-ceremony type get together. So I'm going to ask, I'll ask both Oren and Glyn this, but I'll ask Oren first. Oren, do you think you are present at this party? And if so, I forgot what follow-up I was going to ask on that. I guess is it sort of because it's it's custom to just like invite a load of people, or have you been sort of invited for a specific reason, friendship or whatever else?
I think that like it's tradition for like the family hosting the wedding to get some like, I don't know, like a bower arch like specifically made for the couple. And so I think probably me and my pa made that. And I mean, we're sort of invited as a result.
Yeah, awesome. I like that. And yeah, Glyn, same question to you essentially. Do you think you are present? And if so, is it kind of, do you have a link to the couple or the families, or is it just a more of an open invite type situation?
I think Jac's family farm has one of the best trees for napping in. And I just happened to be there.
Awesome. I like that. That's very cool. Yeah. So I think we've got this, like I said, be a fairly a fairly raucous party. I mean, it's this is like I said, this is very much this is a fun event rather than a ceremonial event, as it were. There will be beer or cider or whatever. Local beverages are popular being drunk. I'm going to ask actually. I'm going to call on you again. Zéline and Jac, can I get names for the happy couple, if that's all right?
I was thinking for my sister Deirdre.
Cool.
I think my brother's name is Bradwen.
So is that Brad?
W-E-N.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, cool. Yeah, one last question again, probably for the both of you at this point. And I mean, I suppose more broadly, but specifically for the two of you. And is this kind of a a love match, or as close to it as is reasonable, or is this kind of more like an arranged marriage situation?
I think it's arranged, but I think they are also like having a nice enough relationship. Like one of the cases, and like they were not expecting to have a loving partner, and maybe they found one. That at least is my idea.
Yeah, I like that. I think Bradwen is pretty easygoing. I think he's very easy to get along with. So yeah.
Excellent. So yeah, I think so. to frame us into the scene properly now. As I said, there will be lots of drinking. There will be some dancing. I suppose actually even maybe the traveling musicians that you mentioned, Oren. I think they might well be in attendance. This seems like the sort of thing where they've probably been given a night's hospitality in return for singing some songs, playing some music. So I'm going to we'll come to that in a moment, but yeah, I'm just going to ask each of you in turn, and I will just sorry again, I will just default to my usual character keeper order for this bit. When we kind of open up on this scene, what do you think Jac is doing? How is he kind of engaging with the party?
I think he's helping. Like he's still working. He's like carrying and fetching and that sort of thing, and his mother is keeping him busy with like go get that from the cellar and take this out into the kitchen and that sort of thing. So he barely has time to enjoy the party.
Excellent, thank you. And Zéline, how about you? What sort of is the kind of the opening shot that we get of you at this wedding? Well, not wedding, but at this party.
I think I'm like struggling with a fancy dress that my parents have like entrusted upon me, and like going back to my sister and ask her to fix the dress that I found very uncomfortable.
Yeah, and I think she make some adjustments to your dress, but she does so in kind of quite a brusque sort of way. She seems a little distant. You definitely get that feeling as she's doing this. She doesn't pay the attention to you that you'd normally expect of her. But yeah, she as she sort of like straightens it, ties up, ties up an extra lace or whatever in the back and all that. But also, thank you very much. And Oren, how about you? How are you? What do we see you getting up to at the in the party at this stage?
I think that I'm probably still like setting up the arc with my paw, and I think I may be like letting my gaze drift to see if I can spot, let's go with Calum among any of the musicians here tonight, at which point I will drop something or like let the my end of the arc like droop too low, and my paw will snap at me and I'll snap my attention back.
Excellent. Perfect, thank you. And Glyn, how about you? We obviously I suppose we'll get that kind of establishing shot of you perched up in a tree, but yeah, what do we see of you?
We see a small child looking up. One of Jac's younger siblings is just like, "What are you doing up there?" get down from there. And he like looks down, does like a shh symbol to the kid, and Glyn will just be like, hey, if you keep my secret that I'm up here, and he like plucks a leaf from the tree, I'll give you this musical leaf. And he makes like a whistle sound with it, and the kid's just like, yeah. And he kind of like lets it float down, and the kid like catches it and runs off, and he proceeds to continue napping in the tree.
Awesome. Yeah. So I think Jac, you're just coming back with another pitcher of ale from the cellar. It's definitely not the first time you've been tasked with this this evening, and you are filling up. You're filling up Bradwin's mug, and he's watching Deirdre across the room where she's is in fact at this moment adjusting Zéline's dress, and he's like absolutely kind of fixated on her. He's got the proper full-on sort of puppy dog eyes and that going on as you fill his mug, and he barely seems to register your presence there as you're pouring his drink.
Yeah, yeah, I fill his mug, and I think I'm like about to ask him something, but then my mother calls me from the kitchen again, and oi, Jac, keep filling those mugs, and I have to. I start like walking around the table, trying to see who needs something to drink, bumping into people, apologizing the whole way, that sort of thing.
Awesome. Yeah, and well, I'll just if I'll throw things over to you if there is anything you want to, any of you at this point, if there's anything you want to get up to, then feel free to do so. If you want to kind of meet up with each other or do anything else, and just go ahead.
From his perch in the tree, Glyn will start scouting out the foods that are being laid out for the celebration.
Awesome. Yeah, and yeah, there definitely is a lot of food being laid out for this, while life in Longhill is fairly simple. The one thing that people do tend to have in abundance is food and drink. Yeah, there's a good spread being laid on.
Was there anything, just to check in before I turn in, was there anything Glyn was planning on doing with from that scouting?
No, I think he's waiting for like the attention of the people to go towards like either the couples are coming together and stuff like that. Right now, he's just like laying down the groundwork for later plans. We just kind of see him like while he like looks like he's napping, he has like one eye is like slightly open, looking at the table itself.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, in that case, I will ask. Do I see Caleb here?
Oh yes, absolutely. Yeah. He will be present within the troop. What instrument does he play, do you think, or does he sing?
I think he plays a violin.
Cool. Yeah, so he's there fiddling away as they're playing, some sort of like reel or other country dance.
Yeah, I think I probably kind of during a moment when both my paw isn't telling me to do something, and maybe when he's tuning up for like adjusting his violin, I kind of hesitantly like step over and like I saw the troop come in, and I was hoping you'd be I'd be seeing you among them.
And he kind of turns to you, and you do see that like moment of like him trying to kind of figure out who you are. But he does, he kind of says, "Oh, yeah, it's been years since we've been back through here. You've grown. Well, I guess I have too, but
Yeah, I think yeah, I think that's probably like it hadn't occurred to me, but I think he's like an inch taller than me now. And I actually do like kind of stupidly grin for a moment, then I go, oh, I want to, I mean, I knew that you and your folks would be coming around soon, so I just, for last time, I made this for you, and I kind of like reach into my pouch and like pull out like a little carving of a deer I made.
oh,
Oh, it's a silly thing. It's no mine. I can,
no,
don't take it because don't take it to spare my feelings. It's all right. And I start very like embarrassedly like putting it back into my pouch.
No. It's lovely. Thank you. And he will reach for it. I wasn't expecting so warm a welcome here. It's we end up in so many places. Actually, no, I think he will start saying that, but I think I will ask you here to make the open up move.
Okay.
As that seems appropriate. So that is a roll with honesty.
Cool. Let me go over to, I haven't opened that yet, so let me. Oh man, that's a 6.
Ooh. So, on a miss, you are left awkward and exposed. Choose a response. Get some space from them. Act out to cover your vulnerability, or mark where. And I think the
oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, no, I was going to say, and I think the way that this is, I think perhaps what the just his reactions are just a little like, when he says he wasn't expecting this, he means that quite honestly. Like, this is kind of not something that he was even remotely preferred. Well, he's not displeased with it. There's just that obvious sort of like, well, I'm not sure what's going on here kind of edge to his like reaction.
Yeah, I think definitely I kind of go, oh well, maybe we'll talk later when you're not performing. And I think I hear my pa calling me. I should go, and I like hightail it out the bar, and I probably end up like sitting under the tree that Glyn's hiding in.
That seems appropriate. Yep, that seems appropriate.
Yeah, and I think as you show up at the tree, Glyn will just be like, "Yeah, bud, that was real smooth over there."
But what? I don't know what you were talking about, Glyn.
He like jumps down, and from behind a tree, there's like a plate of pie. Here, I'll make you feel better.
I kind of very sulkily like eat a piece of pie.
Eat it quick after return the plate and the knife before they realize it's gone.
Wait, yep. I kind of like look down at the piece in my hand. Like, I now have like the fruit juice all over my hands and like and I think like I like cram the rest in my mouth, and I'm like, what do we I haven't stolen anything before, Glyn. What do we do?
Chew and then swallow. I'll handle the rest. That's all right, bud. You'll get another chance at it.
Thanks, Glyn. Is this do we do anything here, or
yeah, no, you eat the pie. That's
sorry, I was just getting a bit
yeah.
Like, I feel like unless we're like making a move here, I think this is the good point to like close that the image on there.
Yeah.
No, that sounds cool. Yeah, no, I think it's probably not a move to be made there quite yet, but no, that's cool. Thank you. So I'll come back over to Zéline. Is there anything you'd like to get up to here at the party?
I don't know. Maybe I think like Jac is sort of my age, so I don't know if maybe like they will group us like together, because maybe for dancing or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds good if you're up for that, Jac.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Yes, I think there's kind of that like I said, there's sort of the next dance is about to start up, and I think Anne aunt will kind of bustle the two of you together and say, the two of you should have a dance, and we'll kind of give a very over the top knowing wink.
Okay, sure. Hi. I guess, yeah. Okay.
I imagine Zéline like leaning close to you and saying, "Let's just do it for a minute so they stop watching us, and then we can do whatever."
Oh, yeah, sure.
And I imagine her like very confidently doing like all the paces wrong and like totally messing up the dancing, but so confident she's doing it right.
Yeah, and Jac is completely he's completely convinced by that confidence. So even though he kind of knows what steps he should be taking, he's completely fumbling it because you're throwing him off. I thought, and he's bumping into people and apologizing.
Great.
Awesome. I love it. And I think we'll start to wrap up there now. But I think the last thing we see is, as this next dance starts up, and there's the two of you are kind of doing your best to dance. You will notice, obviously, like the music is still playing, and it's like I said, a lively country jig sort of thing, but like the sound of the general chatter just dies off a little bit, and the soon to be married couple are dancing, and Deirdre is dancing like she's moving like no one you've ever seen before. It's still like it's the right dance. It's in time with the music and all, but there's just a kind of grace and a precision to her movements that is, like I said, just like it's not that she's a bad dancer. She's a perfectly decent dancer, but this is like a performer almost, and everyone in the is just sort of turning to watch her as she dances. Bradwen is lost in her eyes, is sort of almost like melting into sort of the movements she's doing here, and there's nothing. It's just there's that moment where just like everyone in the room is watching them, and that is where we will leave things for the evening. Thank you very much, everyone. I'm going to stop our recording now.